Neil Murata was supposed to be
Right.
at our sitting and this taping. When I first was going to run for mayor, Neil Murata was the first one I spoke to say, maybe I can get interested in this town. I like this town an awful lot. Maybe I want to become the mayor. And Neil was the first one I spoke to. Jack Larkin happened to be my campaign manager, who was the old postmaster in town.
Okay, I don't remember him.
Yeah, Jack
I know
Larkin
Neil, though.
And Neil Murata. And after I became mayor, Neil Murata, I appointed Neil Murata to the library board.
Yes, which he remained until...
Long time.
Oh, my goodness. Decades.
My wife was served on the library board, and Casey O'Connor served on the library board, and people are still the same in Spotswood. Spotswood has never lost that good down hometown feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
My uncle Steve Lesko, who I think right now probably is the oldest person alive in Spotswood. He enjoys telling stories about Spotswood so much, and I miss the old days, but I think Spotswood has got a bright future, and there are people like you, Marge, and my son, and the mayor. We have young people, and people like the Heritage Commission. It's a wonderful thing you guys do. And,
that's right.
I think so much of what you're accomplishing and doing, because for years after this, and after you and I are both gone, we'll have this memory.
And I think we always get the volunteers out, whether it's the Library Commission, whether it's the PTA, whether it's the Board of Ed, whether it's the firemen. There's so many volunteer groups. Even the first aid was volunteer for many years until budget and coverage issues forced the town to actually privatize that piece, which we have now. But it's just been, people make this town.
One subject we'd like to bring up is the extension of Summerhill Road that's never quite happened.
When I was the mayor, traffic was always a problem on the corner of DeRoe and Main Street. And I tried to, during my time as mayor, get a plan together, which I wasn't successful at, extending Summerhill Road all the way down to Texas Road and having some outlets in between. The Hornell system, water system, objected to that, and Mayor at that time, Peter Garibaldi, objected to that, because I thought that when Monroe was building up so many houses on the borderline of Spotswood, the traffic congestion would be so great that I wanted to do something about it. I wasn't successful, but I think that my feelings was right, because you go to about 4 or 5 o'clock in Spotswood, it's a nightmare to get to. I wanted to do that. We could have done it at that time, because we would have had to condemn very few homes at that time, and I think it would have been an excellent idea. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but who knows?
No, the first veterans list here was made December 12th, 1941, five days after Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
That's the one that was in the old community house, and that got lost somewhere in the shuffle, but it's great that your son put the new one up. And in fact, there's been some talk about going to a new automated electrical one to make it easier to change names rather than pulling out all those little letters. Yes.
Yeah. What was I going to say about the municipal building? Remember the old municipal? Did you serve in that municipal building?
Yes, I did. And
why don't you tell the story?
Well, it was an experience when it rained. because when it rained, it was on stilts, and when it rained, the rain used to come in like Niagara Falls.
Oh, boy.
And but Reggie Pasterjack used to be the borough clerk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was there for a long time. And I remember there's a tree that I had planted when I was the mayor in honor of Mr. Goldsmith.
That's right, on the triangle.
Goldsmith, yeah.
Goldsmith. And he's got a headstone because he was the borough clerk for such a long time.
Yes.
And I decided to honor him with a headstone with his years of service. And luckily it's still there.